Good morning, everybody. All right, now let's do it like this. Good morning, everybody. It is Dr. Pearlman here at Paramount Chiropractic and Wellness, Richardson, Texas. Getting over a little laryngitis, a little sinus infection, so just a little residual, sounding a little nasally maybe in my voice. But I wanted to make a video today. I'm going to put it into two parts, so let's see what happens here. So the first point I want to address is people are looking for the right exercises to get rid of the pain in the base of the neck or the lower neck and the upper back, and it goes into the shoulders. It's very common. These are what we call radicular patterns. And the radicular patterns or radicular symptoms when they start to go into the extremities, but they're coming from the nerve root here in the neck. Because remember, all the pain that goes into your leg or your buttock, unless it's like a hard hit, what they would call a contusion or something, most of the time is, especially if there's no, again, mechanism of injury that is a direct blow to the knee, to the foot, to the thigh, to the butt, to the arm, to the shoulder, to the hand. It's usually begun because a nerve root here sends all the pain and all sensation and all function signals anatomically through the nervous system down into the extremities. So these radicular symptoms can sometimes just be located here in the shoulder. I'm dealing with something right now where the right side of my neck is sending something into the right part of the shoulder. And I see a lot of people going and getting massage, and they're constantly saying like, oh, it felt great when I was getting it, but it didn't really give me any relief. And again, this is because massage is great at working out muscles, tension in muscles, what they would call maybe some knots, I use that term loosely, in the muscles. And if they are doing it anatomically right to either lengthen a short muscle or shorten a lengthened muscle, or to unwind maybe some fascia, it can be very effective. But it's never going to do anything to get rid of the nerve root that's sending a signal from the disc level, right? There's 24 discs, for most of us anyways, within the our spinal column. And those discs, sort of the way that the annular fibers around them might stretch, or the way that a little part of it may herniate or bulge. These are not the same thing, but for the purposes of this video, will influence that nerve root. That sends a signal down to the shoulder, the arm. Again, I rest my case. So how can chiropractic help that? Or how will some of the exercises, which I'll show you in a second, help that? Well, one is chiropractic works not only to, crack or pop or release pressure in the joint, which is great because a lot of adjustments can be very superficial where it gets temporary relief. Other adjustments can be very deep within sort of that disc material that creates something called imbibition with an I, imbibition. And that disc imbibition is like this pumping fluid mechanism around the disc that works, again, with this pressure gradient that I've talked about in my videos sometimes, that is going on within the spinal column and these bone joints that also work around those nerve roots. So if you can start to get things mechanically moving better and trigger the brain to understand that it's moving better to reduce pain and increase range of motion on that deeper level, you can certainly begin to reduce pressure and eliminate a lot of those radicular symptoms. Something else that works really well with that a lot of the times is going to be decompression, and that is case dependent. Sometimes you'll hear it called here's like my head and neck, right? So like a Y-axis traction or decompression. A lot of that can work very case dependent. And one of the last things I want to make the point about this situation we're talking about is whether or not chiropractic will work. People say, well, what exercises can I do at home? Because someone told me to stretch. Like I can barely stretch right now because the base of that neck is still really bothering me. So someone told me to stretch. Stretching is good for healthy people that don't have a disc injury. If you do have a disc injury, like I'm talking about, a lot of times what happens is the back part of the neck and all these muscles here are lengthened already. Thus, stretching it would only worsen the problem. So you actually want to find a way to shorten the muscles here and lengthen the muscles here and open this up. And I will show you again a little clip in a second of what it is that I'm referring to, because it's super important to be able to do these exercises. And yes, what I'm about to show you, you should do for like a minute every day, especially if you have a desk job, especially if you catch yourself, us content creators, I don't even know if I want to use that term to describe myself, but somebody who creates content will typically be on their phone like this, editing for many hours on end, right? Like this. It's a problem. But then again, I'm not one of those guys that's going to say it's because of the cell phones that we all have this text neck or forward head posture. Of course not. I mean, people have been studying in libraries with their heads buried in books for decades before us in that regard. But there certainly is a pandemic, if you will, of forward head posture due to desk work and our addiction and our reliance on not just social media, but the internet and technology right now that will have us in front of screens. I mean, we got to be honest, guys. Some of us could be, potentially in front of a computer screen of any kind with our body like this, stressed out and seated for, 12 hours a day, sometimes 15. I mean, it's probably more than that, depending on what you do, for a certain kind of programming and working in some database kind of things. I don't know, spreadsheets, whatever, analytics. So there it is. Do these 2 exercises I'm about to show you, maybe like a minute and a half each evening, maybe mix it in 3 times a day for 90 seconds. And you'd be shocked, just really shocked how much better you could feel by getting some of that extension in through the upper part of the spine and the neck. Okay, so you guys have a great day. Happy to be with you again. And here we go.